Okay, and we are live. Happy Friday, everybody. Everyone survived Lionsgate. Yay, I heard yesterday was the peak. It's supposed to go till about the 12th or the 13th. So, everyone tap into that energy and let's do some manifesting. And tonight, Allyson and Amanda and I are so happy to have back to our my channel and our show, Carolyn and Peter Booker. I feel like the Muppet Show where Kermit goes, yay! Well, Peter's got the Kermit green on, so there we go, yay! So we are so thankful to have you back. Glad that you're both are feeling better. You look very good. So thank you for joining us. There she is. Okay.
Sorry, I forgot to turn my Wi-Fi on.
All righty. So tonight, everybody, Carolyn, Peter, we're all here to kind of, what we love to talk to them about, the mystical, the paranormal, the woo-woo. So there's going to be no like political, any real personal questions tonight, especially politics, health, or legal. But, when Peter and Carolyn are on, we love to talk about experiences, paranormal experiences, dreams, anything that, comes to mind that anybody might want to share, or if there's just even comments that people want to share experiences. So let's just kind of get started here and say hello to a few people. And Moira is here. Hello, Moira. And there's Ange, Roots and Waves. And Ange is joining Nancy and I this Monday for our Divine Feminine show. And even Moira's out going, hello. Teresa Hadarian, lots of people on the show tonight. Should be a great show. Smile, Allyson. She just froze for a second. Al, you're muted. She's muted. Allyson's the strong silent type. That's why she's got her mute on. And Moira says loves Kermit. Yes.
Geez, I'm all goofed up.
Yes. And Ginger Faye is here. What's up, Faye? How the Faye? What's going on, girl? Miss Moonlight is here. Teresa says, big smile. Thank you. Yes, Allyson. Everybody has a beautiful smile.
Yes.
We love to see everyone's smiles. So it's been a while, but Peter and Carolyn were able to come back and join us for our Friday night show. I hope everybody had a good week. It's been very hot where Amanda is, but she's here. She didn't melt. We're talking about the weather,
She survived.
I'm not sweet enough to melt.
And for the week of Lionsgate, Leo, the hot, boy, Leo really delivered, let me tell you. And Moira said, no smiling allowed. No, lots and lots of smiles for everybody. So, so Peter, Carolyn, what have you been up to? What would you like to share with us?
Well, not last night, the night before. Just after 4 a.m, there was all I can say is like boom in my bedroom, and my dresser moved, my TV moved. I actually had movement, and at the same time in Japan they were having their earthquake, and I think it was a psychic hit that I got. I grew up in California, so earthquakes to me are like, okay, having what time is it? Yeah. So, but that morning I said, look, my TV's moved, and
well, that's a lot of energy for a psychic hit to be able to move that much furniture. Do you think
I heard the jolt. I heard the noise, and I thought something had hit the roof of the house, because we got the start then of the Hurricane Moira. Sorry, not Moira. Debbie, wasn't it? Hurricane Debbie came up.
Yeah. Debbie.
It was further west of us, but we were getting some of the rain bands and some of the wind. And I thought, oh, something's hit the house. So I looked out of the windows. I couldn't see anything at all. Later on, when it was daylight, I checked and there was no damage anywhere, which is strange because it was a heavy thump. I could not sleep prior to that. I had a very bad night, Wednesday into Thursday. And all day yesterday was very, very strange emotionally for me. And then, lo and behold, Carolyn, this last night, Thursday into Friday, you couldn't sleep, could you?
Yeah.
So the energies are certainly very, very strong at the moment.
And I'm sure Debbie probably added to that energy for the psychic, for the paranormal, because they say storms and lots of rain and that kind of energy can really ramp up, paranormal or, psychic energy, vibrations. Do you think that played a part of it, you think?
Quite possibly, but it's more than a coincidence that the same time that happened, a series of earthquakes in Japan at the same time.
Yeah, Ginger said interesting because I'm sorry, Amanda.
It's okay. I was just saying, and I don't believe in coincidence, so I agree.
No, there are no coincidences.
And Ginger says, interesting because I woke up at 4 a.m. this morning as well, just wide awake. So, and Andrew said, yeah, the energies are all over the place yesterday. They were strong. Yes, they were.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, my first thought was, is Peter all right? Did a tree fall? Is it a tornado?
Well, that's a possibility.
And then it was like, no. And it was only one hit. One big hit.
Wow.
So maybe a heads up. And Peter, for people who don't know Carolyn Peter, they've done paranormal investigations in the past. Carolyn is psychic medium. Would that be the correct term again?
Yeah.
Okay. And Peter, even though he says he doesn't have quite as many abilities or capabilities, I think, Peter, you've said in the past, you still are very empathic. You pick up on energy. You feel things. Am I correct?
That is true, yes. I like, I aid my dear wife here. I'm her battery pack, if you will. I give her extra power.
Oh, give her a little extra boost.
Love
That's so
it.
sweet. So yeah, also 4 a.m. was the morning of the earthquake is when Ginger woke straight up. So yeah. All
When
righty.
was the earthquake?
Yesterday morning.
Yesterday morning at 4 a.m.
Yesterday, 4 a.m. Eastern Standard Time? Okay.
Yeah, whether there, I think it's 13 hours difference.
Okay.
I think it was in the afternoon their time sometime, I believe.
They said it was like a 6.9, I think.
Yeah, it was pretty good jolt.
Oh, that's
a big
real
one.
hurricane.
Yeah, and they've had lots
Earthquake. Yeah.
further, jolts up the fault line from there, miles from there.
Carolyn, Carolyn, do you ever think that or feel that at some point and I don't know if this is the proper question to ask for a show, but with your abilities, have you ever sensed or seen any parts of Japan just, going under because or breaking up more or separating more because of the earthquakes in that area, especially being on the Ring of Fire?
Yeah, the landslides and that type of thing, and sections of the coast going.
Wow.
For some people, yeah. So, Amanda, was there anything you wanted to ask Carolyn or Peter? Because Amanda is new. She's Tropical Empress Spirit. She's new to our community. She joined us a couple months ago. And I didn't know if Amanda, there was anything that you wanted to know about Carolyn or Peter, see that you are our new guest on Friday nights, along with Allyson and I.
I just want to hear more about their experiences. I mean, I could share a couple of my experiences, like, when we were talking backstage about what happened this morning when I walked outside on my porch.
There you go.
And it was sunny, but there was like a couple big clouds covering up the sun. And as I'm sitting there, I see all these gold orbs, like multiple of them, just kind of like swarming around me. And the visual image I could give to people is if you've ever seen that movie Ghost with Patrick Swayze and Demi Moore and Whoopi Goldberg, and right there at the end where before he goes to heaven, there's all those angels that come down, like you could see the gold orbs. That's pretty much what I saw this morning. And so now it's like, I don't know what that was. I mean, I've experienced it once before, but, and I've seen clusters of orbs, but I've never seen them like coming close, like, going through me and going around me.
Wow.
It was beautiful, but I'm kind of clueless.
Carolyn, any idea? Carolyn or Peter?
It's a combination. It's your ancestors and it's your angels.
Wow.
And they're guarding you and keeping you safe and giving you peace.
Aw. That's beautiful.
I have a question.
Mm.
So, like with what Amanda experienced, and that's beautiful, and I'm sure that, that perfectly sounds like what it would be. I mean, it makes sense to me. Is that just like an occurrence and she saw it because it was happening, or is that something that happens all the time, but she just happened to catch it this time? Or like, is that, I know it's probably not a constant. I mean, it's not like our angels are probably with us the majority of the time, but like our ancestors, I believe anyways, they pop in and they just kind of come and visit and check on us from time to time. So like, it's beautiful that she got to witness that. I guess what I'm trying to ask is, did she witness an event that was happening, or is that more of a constant? She was just able to view it, in your opinion?
It's a constant, but she
Okay.
got to do it this time.
Okay.
Occasionally, she'll see them. Yeah, occasionally they'll make themselves known. Let me put it that way.
Right.
It's not an accident.
Right.
They want you to know they're there.
So like she was like she's, she has all kinds of gifts. I don't know how familiar you are with her, but like, so like she just was able, like it sounds like this is the first time that has really happened, or the second time, I guess. But it's like, why? So is that her tapping in so she was able to see it, or it was her relatives and her angels showing it to her so that she would see it? Like
Showing it to her so she would see it.
Okay.
And bring her peace and love, know she's loved and that she's protected.
Right.
That's beautiful.
And they're always with her.
How many were there, Amanda? Was it like a whole bunch, or was it like half a dozen?
It was a bunch. I mean, it was more than I could count, but they were moving so fast. It's not like I could sit there and be like,
Got it. Okay. But they were all over the place. That's so cool.
And you could physically, or was it like was it physically
I
in
saw
front
with
of you?
my bare eyes.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yes.
Wow.
That's so cool.
It was.
Because Amanda's been developing more, right? Amanda, you've been doing your videos, sharing. Well, Amanda's new, and she's been releasing videos, letting people know that they're not alone. That everybody has different forms of ability, and she's been sharing her story with everybody. And so, Amanda, I can't remember exactly because we've had so many conversations. But you said you consider yourself clairaudient and clairsentient, correct?
Yes, and clairvoyant, precognitive, and telepath, empath, and claircognizant. Those are the ones that I'm fully aware of. But it's not like it happens all the time. It's, if I try tapping into it, then yeah, I'll pick up on things. But just going about my day, it's like it's random. Like what happened this morning. Even though I end up seeing spirit orbs every day. Multiple times a day, I'll normally see them, and I'll see them in all different colors, shapes, and sizes too. And every now and then, I'll hear a voice, or I've seen a full body apparition on a rare occasion a few times. I've even seen a full blown angel appear right in front of me, and that blew me away.
Beautiful.
So, and then I get the warnings, about things that are going to happen in the future before they happen. But I've even had those experiences where it doesn't always have to be bad. Like I've had a few good ones. Like an example would be like me dreaming that I'm pregnant. So this is like symbolic where in my dream I'm pregnant, but I know I'm not pregnant. And so to me, I've learned that's not saying I'm going to end up pregnant. It's telling me someone close to me is going to die and vice versa, if that makes any sense. So if I have a dream that someone's going to die, that means someone close to me is pregnant. And I end up finding out it's true. So it's all of those things. And then the telepathy that comes and goes, it's random. I find that it happens with pretty much most people that I'm close with, but I've had those experiences, a couple times with complete strangers that I didn't know, where I'm picked up on their thoughts, but I didn't realize I picked up on their thoughts until those thoughts came to me, and then I hear them repeat exactly what I got, and I'm just like, wow. So it's all those things, and I pick up on energy. The empath side of it, like I've had experiences of I can feel one of my loved ones emotions or even like physical ailments, and I don't have to be anywhere around them. They can be an hour away from me, and I've had it happen. So it kind of goes into all of that.
And music. Music is a big messenger for you.
Yes, very much so.
I just got goosebumps, Amanda. Because we've been talking. Yeah, she's been sharing story on her recent videos. You were sharing a story about music.
Mm-hmm.
With your mama. That's
beautiful.
Yeah.
Because I'll wake up with a song playing in my head, like right away when I open my eyes, I'll have a song playing in my head, or I might even get a song before I go to sleep, or throughout the day. I don't even have to be listening to the radio, but a song will pop in my head, and then it just drives me batty crazy because it plays over and over and over again until I acknowledge it, and then I got to figure out, okay, who's causing this, and what's the message behind it. So yeah, I've experienced that a lot too.
Well, what wonderful confirmation. Oh my goodness.
So yes.
So
Yeah, well, we have discussed it at one point, and someone came through and was giving her messages in the songs. And then another person, the same person came through, but was giving a different artist songs that meant something, another message. It was the same person that was giving them.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. It's amazing. And Carolyn, how was the Reiki training? Have you started that yet?
Yeah, one class.
One class?
Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
And Carolyn was sharing that she's doing Reiki, so I didn't know if that was something you wanted to share with everybody.
Well, I got the feeling that this morning, I said to Peter, I said, someone has writer's block.
Wow.
Yeah, and they need to, concentrate and do the breathing. Cross their heart like this and do the breathing and the prayer, and they'll be released.
Well, I know that resonates with me. I don't know if that's for one of you other ladies or for somebody in chat or who watches back, but Lionsgate got me going again to start picking up and writing something I've been wanting to write for some time now.
Well,
Good.
So maybe, who knows, that might be for a lot of us. Yes, Ange. Yes. Anything you want to share, Allyson? Or anything you want to ask Sabrina?
Nothing I can think of. Sorry.
Because Allison's like, boy, if we could just live a little closer to the Bookers, oh, it'd be so great to come over, have a cup of coffee, and just sit on the couch in a chair and just talk with them all day long.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
would be great.
I find all your adventures very interesting.
Yes. Hello, Karen. So, one of the questions I have brought up backstage, and I'm not going to, share the details of the dream, but I was asking Carolyn how some people, when you have a dream, how do you know whether it's symbolic? Like Amanda was explaining, she was pregnant in the dream, but she knew she wasn't pregnant and it was a symbol. Sometimes for some of us, myself included, from like last night, was how do we know when something is symbolic or if it's actually something that we're experiencing on the other side or a message that we are receiving from the other side. And I asked Carolyn if it would be okay with her to maybe share that for some of us who have those kind of dreams. And again, I open the floor up to you two.
Well, you're there. You have that sense that you're actually there, and you are. You've traveled to that spot, and you're there watching what's going on, or participating. Sometimes on good things, you're participating. If it's a negative thing, you're at a distance watching it. And other than that, symbolic, you would wake up with a thought. Oh, okay, and you write that down or you record that before you get up, so that you can concentrate on what was the symbol for that. Why was I in a car but I wasn't driving, but it was moving? Because you don't feel in control. You see, someone else is in control.
Like that. Yeah.
So you take steps to correct that and take your power back.
Mm-hmm.
So that's symbol.
Okay. And Ginger said, spirit works in fun ways. The other day I was trying to think of an artist's last name. I asked guys to help me. Then the person at the table behind me said black and gray. It was Alex Gray.
Mhm.
So there was her help right there from spirit. And Karen said, ask for a sign from your angels or your guides. Sometimes it's hard to do that in the middle of a dream. And I don't think of it until afterwards. But and she says also, I think our dreams hold a lot importance during this portal. Yes, and Karen, you came in after Karen was sharing her story about her and Peter experiencing their home shaking briefly, like something had hit it, and then finding out later on that that earthquake had hit in Japan. So we were all connecting, and Amanda had that experience with her ancestors and the angels coming through. And I think a lot of that energy from the Lions Gates and everything else going on is what helped, amp that energy.
Yeah, because I just had a gold spirit orb disappear to me just now.
Oh, just now?
They're listening.
I want some orbs.
They're confirming to you. Yeah,
Me too. I want to see an orb. Yeah.
Carolyn, I'm curious. The whole subject of dreams is very interesting, and then like there's people that like study dreams, and like there's dream interpretation and all of that, which I mean, I don't even know how I feel about it anymore, but like there's people that interpret dreams, but I think that can be a very
that's personal.
It is exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, somebody else deciding what your dream means. It can be. But I also think that it can be like, I know that there's dreams that are prophetic. There's dreams that are just, it's just your subconscious chattering and whatever, and dealing with stuff. And then there's also, there's probably even more than that. I know that there were 3 major groupings with this one thing that I read, but I just wanted to say this much. So I've heard, and this part at least makes sense to me, when you dream like you're in a house, depending on what the dream is, of course, but usually like you are the house, right? The house symbolizes you, just like a vehicle would be you, and depending on what's going on in the vehicle, not that it couldn't be an actual car or it couldn't be an actual house, depending on what the dream is, but a lot of the times it's that, what I was just describing. And it's just, a lot of times it's just us working through our stuff while we're, checked out, asleep, whatever. And it's the brain. There's so much about, I think, dreaming that science, well, either they don't know and they don't share it, or they do know and they're not sharing it, or they just don't, because there's so many things that we just don't know that much about. But I find dreaming fascinating. But I was just curious what you thought about the whole house and vehicle thing and all that. Like you were just saying, okay, that's being out of control. Like if you're in a car that's, there's no driver and whatever, then that totally makes sense. But like the house thing and just whatever, just what your thoughts are on all that.
I think that the interpretation of a dream is very personal. And what it means to one person may not mean the same to you.
Mm-hmm.
Like you see a singer singing a certain song. Now they'd say, oh, well, you went to one of their concerts, or you wish you could go, or whatever. No, that song had a message for you.
Mm-hmm.
And, so how one person interprets it is not how it means to you.
Right.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
And somebody like me, I never remember my dreams. Like I shouldn't say never. It's very, very rare. Very rare. Like I just sleep all night. And I know I'm dreaming. I just don't recall it. And I don't sleep fitfully. I don't have nightmares, knock on wood. I just sleep all night and then I get up and I'm sure I'm dreamy. I just very rarely remember any of it. Like
You'll remember it when it's significant to you.
Okay. Right.
Yeah, because I have so many dreams at night, I can't even remember half of them when I wake up. And so I've been asking my guides at least a snapshot or a picture or a section of something that's the most important that I need to pay attention to.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes that's all I get is a tiny little snapshot, or I get a feeling from them. And Karen said, absolutely, Allyson, we often work through things in our subconscious, in our dreams. I often recognize it when I reflect on them. And Ange and I have been talking about the power of song lyrics, and we've been kind of working on an idea for a show and how lyrics and songs play in mediumship and intuitive readings and things like that. Leah has joined us. Hello, Leah.
Yeah.
And there was also another comment from Ginger. She said, I used to have reoccurring dreams of a tsunami. After Indonesia had happened, the dream stopped. I'm assuming that's what you meant, Ginger, that once the tsunami in Indonesia happened, then those dreams stopped for you. She wanted to share that. And hello, Judith.
I had a
And that was a prophetic dream.
It was a prophetic.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
Were you going to ask something, Amanda?
Yeah, because since we're on the subject of dreams, I had a crazy dream not too long ago. I remember I went to sleep and I dreamed like I was having an out of body experience, but I didn't realize it at first. And I was out of my body and I was floating on my back, kind of towards the ceiling. I remember I was doing this because there was a ceiling fan above my bed, so I was afraid this ceiling fan's going to chop me up. And I look over on the couch and my husband's laying there asleep. And I started like going over there towards him. And I even yelled out his name, like, help, but he didn't wake up. He didn't move, nothing. And I'm like, okay, well, I think at that point I realized what was going on. And I ended up going back into my body, and then it happened again. But the second time, I didn't even bother trying to wake him up, because I'm just like, this is ridiculous. He's not going to hear me. And even if he does, he ain't going to wake up. So, and I don't know what to make of that dream.
Yeah,
Not a
I
body,
think
right?
that was fear. That was, you were afraid of the travel, but you were also afraid of what it would do to you. Like that fan would cut you up. You were afraid of what the travel would do to you. And could you get back in once you've left? Could you get back in? What you've learned since, you can get back in.
Hi, Nancy.
And they do talk about, well, you don't break that silver cord, no.
Oh, that's not true?
Because there are silver cords that need to be broken, like Kelly does. She'll cut the cords to negative things. And you don't know what that silver cord is feeding you. It could be negative. You just never know. And if it breaks, don't worry about it. It was meant to separate from you.
Interested, because I remember when way back out on a limb with Shirley MacLaine, when she had started having her out of body experiences, they told her that as long as she doesn't break the cord, and my mom was told the same thing, as long as you don't break that cord that attaches your soul to your body, you can come and go. So you feel that is a myth?
Yeah, I do.
In your opinion? Okay.
Yeah, because there are times that it is meant to separate from you, and you're not dying. It's just what it's feeding your body may not be what your body requires at that time.
Yeah.
That's to me.
I'm sorry.
And we have so many cords attached to us. How do we know which one is the right one? Because they're all supposed to be silver. So how do you know what cord it is?
Well, I never have any intentional astral projections where I see something like that. So hopefully I won't have to worry about wondering which cord, is it that, don't break to me, that's kind of scary. If you were to have that experience, because then, if one of those cords break, how do you know it's not your lifeline? Or do you feel that or actually, maybe what I mean to ask you, Carolyn, is that we don't have to necessarily worry about that any cords that we see, if they're broken while we're doing this work, or we realize we're astral projecting, that we don't cross over because of a silver cord breaking, and for entertainment purposes only. I just have to throw that there at some point tonight. For you too.
No, we don't. It's a form of an umbilical cord. And I think what it is you were born with that cord, and they remove that cord. And at some point, your body or spirit is going to reject that cord when you become fully cognizant of all your abilities. I think it separates.
Okay.
So that you're whole.
Yeah, because I'm scared. I'm always scared. That's only the second time that I know I've ever had an out of body experience, and I didn't like either times. It's like, no, I want to stay in my body, but then, and it's not the fear of like a cord breaking or anything, even though I've heard that, I've heard a few people mention that over the years, but I don't know. I mean, knowing I was aware that I was having an out of body experience in that moment, it's not like I intentionally went to bed to hope I would have one. It happened, and I don't understand why it happened, but it did, and it happened twice in the same night. So, I mean, it was tempting to want to open that door and go outside. And, I've heard people, tell me. I had a girl at one of the cell phone stores. She told me that she's had them all the time and that she'll even go and get in someone's car and ride around with them. I'm like, what? I ain't that brave, but I mean, that's cool. I mean, if I ever get up the courage to do that, okay, that'll be cool.
I don't know if I
You're,
would get in a car with a stranger. I'm sorry, Carolyn.
I think Allison is going to ask something.
Thank you. I was just going to say I want to make sure I'm not confusing things. So I've heard, I don't even remember when, it doesn't even matter, but many times since I've become interested in all of these sorts of things, which has been years and years and years now, but about how you have is it the ethereal cord or the cord that's connected to us? And it doesn't that basically just connect us to source or the other side? I thought that's what that was.
We're attached to the other side, whether we have a cord or not.
Thank you. Okay, so and I know that, but I'm saying I thought that's what that cord was. I don't know, and
it can be. Yeah, it can be. But like I said, until you are fully developed, spiritually,
right.
You worked on all of your clairs and you're cognizant of all that. Then it will break away from you.
So, okay. And so what I'm trying to understand is, so then is it there is like a safety net for something, or why
Feed you knowledge
after you develop all your gifts?
Yeah, because it feeds you knowledge.
Okay. Okay.
And
So it's kind of like the communication thread.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like a communication, like a telephone. Yeah.
Right. It's that phone. Right. It keeps you.
Yeah. Bat phone. Yeah. And then once the call is over, it hangs up.
Interesting. Okay. So like with Amanda, I mean, it sounds very wide open. She has so many different things that, I mean, maybe they come and go and she doesn't constantly have access to them, but she's noticed numerous clairs. So I'll use her as an example. So like, at what point would she like, and I know you probably don't know for certain, but it's like, so could it be like what she was experiencing? And sorry if I'm late to the catch on of what's going on here. It's like that it's trying to detach from her possibly, or.
I think it already has.
It already has. Okay. You hear that, Amanda?
It's detached.
Wow.
But like Carolyn saying, you really, I guess, basically you don't need it once you're at a certain point. It maybe, and why does it detach? Is it holding you back at that point, or?
Yeah, it's holding you back after that.
Okay.
And aside from the fact that it's going, the communication is over, you've learned your lesson or lessons that you need to know. Now you need to take that further and dive deeper into those. But once you know what you have, then you start learning those.
Wow.
Is that why my abilities seem like they're growing in strength and I'm having more experiences than I did like 20 years ago?
Yeah.
Because it's like I know, I'm clairaudient, I know I'm clairvoyant, so I know those abilities are there to do the mediumship. like you, but it's not always clear. It doesn't happen often.
It will clear up. It will clear up. But
Is
you
there
have to
anything I
work.
can specifically do?
You have to work on it. Meditate on it. And work on it. And once you do that, it'll get stronger and stronger and stronger. And you don't need that cord. It's already downloaded everything that it's here. It's here. It's in your chakra.
Okay.
And for
That's
me, that's
part-
kind of confusing. Oh, sorry.
That's partly what your chakra is that silver cord that goes through your body and goes
Really?
up.
Wow, I
I
didn't
don't know.
know.
I'm having a hard time wrapping my brain around that because I've been taught so long that it was the exact opposite. That that cord attaches us to our human existence, and then when we're done here, learning what we have to, then we have the option, or if we're meant to at that time, time to go, and it gets disconnected, and then we go back to to source and to the other side. And I just want to really quick, Lorraine, if you're still watching, I went to go star your question about the color green. And when I went to go star it, the chat jumped and I ended up clicking on timeout. This happens on a regular basis well, for me at least, when you have a busy chat. So you will be back in a few minutes. And I do have your questions for Carolyn, my dear. So my apologies.
Yeah, I guess that would be a good question, Carolyn. When I see different color spirit orbs, like I kind of get an idea of who it is or who it possibly could be, but I'm not always positive. Like when I see blue, I know it's either an angel or it's my mom or my daddy.
Mom.
But then, like I'll see orange or I'll see gold or I'll see silver, purple, blush color. I've seen all the different colors.
Mm-hmm.
So what are all those different colors supposed to mean?
Well, it will give you the knowledge you need. If it's your mama, she'll say, it's your mama. You'll know it's your mama. You'll know it's your dad. And you just talk to them like you would talk to anybody, like you're talking to me. Talk to them. Because they want that.
So if she doesn't know who it is by the color and she's not hearing whatever's being said, I'm wondering, does the color change? Like, could she see her mother is blue and then see her mother gold another time?
Yes.
So it changes according to, thank you. So like mood or what
Her
situation
needs.
is or
Her needs.
her needs. Amanda's needs.
Amanda's niece.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Interesting.
yeah. It will change according to your need.
Wow. Let me see. I don't know. Judith was sharing some dreams that she wanted to share. I have had night terror since I was a child. As I mentioned to Ginger Faye a while ago, I live in a haunted house. My mother could see all that was happening. When my bedroom was put in the basement, they had me trapped. I have not had a real sleep since then, but I can handle their BS now and I wake myself. So, Judith, I'm assuming you're no longer in the house that you grew up in as a child. And so, are you saying they followed you from the house and they follow you on the dream astral level? I think that might be what she was asking. Did you want to?
She disconnects.
Go ahead.
Evidently, from what I'm reading, she can handle what they want to give out, and she wakes herself up and disconnects from them.
Yeah, but she says that she has not had a real night's sleep though since then. So is there something else she can do so that
Her angels and speak it out loud because angels need to hear it out loud.
Okay. Let me look, Ginger. I believe. Okay, I think I do have yours, Ginger. I used to get woken up by the sound of dishes crashing. No one else was there. I had heard that when that happens, a portal has opened.
Who
That's
opened the
new to me.
portal?
I think she meant no one else would hear, but it was spelled
Oh,
wrong. Probably
okay.
used
So
voice
no one
command or
else would
something.
hear the crashing. And so she says, I had heard that when that happens, a portal has opened. By the sound of dishes crashing? That's new to me.
Is it a portal that stays there? Because you can get rid of that portal.
Well, she's asking if that is if that's true, that when you hear the dishes crashing and no one else hears it, that it's a portal being opened.
No.
That's a first for me. Okay.
No. Mhm.
Mm-mm.
Ginger, I hope that answered your question, sweetie. And hello, Jackie. Jackie Jacaranda is here. So let's see. We've been
I have
having
a comment or a question for Carolyn, based off of one of those last ones. And forgive me for snacking a little bit here, you guys. I also didn't eat, so I'm just sitting here going,
worries.
"Wow, I'm really hungry. I'm having some."
Well, we don't want
I'm
you
having a
being
little
sick.
snack here, but it'll be quiet. So night terrors. Yeah, I was under the impression, it doesn't mean that it's true, and I'm curious, Carolyn and Peter, so my son, when he was very small, within the first year of his birth, and it was very uneventful. I had a wonderful boy that nursed beautifully, slept through the night, easily soothed, blah, blah, blah. But he did have night terrors. And it was horrifying as his mother. It happened, I'm going to say, 3 times total. I had heard, read, whatever, that night terrors were reconciling something from a death that was experienced in a previous life and or a trauma in a previous
The energy.
life. So
Whoa, what's that?
Wow.
Energy. Peter has to turn the light out. The energy.
Uh-oh, another freezing.
Strobing.
The energy is. Woo. Okay.
It's might be a bit bright.
Wow.
Sorry about that.
Okay. Allyson.
Some strobing light.
I know
Or-
Peter is your power keg for your energy. Peter might want to turn down the knob a little bit. It's like, woo,
Like. Okay, I'm sorry, Allyson.
no, you're fine. Thank you.
It can be a combination, or it can be a single event. It's a past life reconciliation
Okay.
that they're remembering,
Right.
and they can't express it.
Right.
They don't have the speech pattern.
Yeah.
To, but also it could be someone that is born their same age that they had lived with back in that other lifetime. And they're going to meet up again. So their energies are already intermixed.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, it was very upsetting. And he, it's like he's looking at me, but doesn't even see me. And you could tell he was asleep, you know what I mean? But he was awake, but his eyes were open, and he was just inconsolable, which was not his character at all. I mean, this is a baby. You could, take care of him immediately if he was upset.
Yeah.
It was really frightening. And like I said, it happened twice, and then we moved, and then it happened once more. And then that was it. And every time it was not as intense, if I remember correctly. But anyways, it was very frightening as his mom. you know what I mean? You want to
Oh,
take care of
absolutely.
everything, right? You don't, and he
Yeah.
was clearly incredibly distraught and scared.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was actually, I'm going to go ahead and use the word traumatizing, for me, experiencing this with my baby. And,
Can I tell you where he was?
What's that?
Can I tell you where he was?
Sure.
Bethlehem.
Wow.
Bethlehem.
What do you mean?
During the time of Christ, he lived as a child.
Wow.
Okay.
I was told the same thing. That I was there.
So he experienced something in that area at that time when he died. So one other question, and thank you for telling me that. So when children, just in general, have night terrors, is it necessarily equated to a death in a previous life, or just something traumatic that they experienced in the previous life?
No, he came close.
Okay.
He got the lamb's blood on the door.
Wow.
And his parents were terrified. And that's what set him off, was his parents being terrified that they were going to come for him. Herod.
I was thinking that was what you meant.
But they had the lamb's blood on the door. So that house was not to be touched. But the parents they weren't sure that was going to work. So they were terrified, which terrified him.
Okay. So he would have been, just since you're having this, and I'll go ahead and ask a couple of things if that's okay. So he was a child when he experienced that?
He was the firstborn, under a year old.
Yep, which is what he was in this life. And then, so would that have been that's just one of his lives, something he hadn't reconciled, or it would have been the most recent life?
No, that's where he got the trauma. It wasn't a recent life.
Okay, but it wasn't necessarily his most recent earthly incarnation.
Right.
Okay. Wow. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Wow.
Oof. That's amazing. Yeah, because I was told I was there too.
You were.
Is there anything else you can tell me about that life? Because, and I think I mentioned this on another show that you were on, about seeing a stone tablet appear in front of me, like in gold, and it was about this tall and this wide, and I could see the writing, but when I first saw it, I was like, what the hell? And then I realized what I was looking at, and I knew it was important, but I didn't know how. And as soon as the shock wore off, I tried reading it, and then it disappeared. So I
you were there when the tablets were brought down.
Wow.
You were there amongst the crowd. You were there when Moses brought the tablets down.
Wow.
I got goosebumps.
Oh my gosh, I got goosebumps too, because I was told I was there during Moses, but I didn't know how. Because I was told that life, and I was also told, I got a lot of goosebumps. I was also told that I was there during Jesus, and I was at the Sermon on the Mount. And I was told that those two lives play a huge significance in my life now. Like what I saw and experienced in that life, I was supposed to bring into this life, but I don't quite understand how or what I'm supposed to do exactly.
It's how you live.
It's how I live. Like what? Just sharing my stories and trying to help others. and
Yes.
allow them to be more open and
Your kindness, your love, your teaching of spirituality. Yes.
wow.
And you were a follower of Moses, who was a follower of Jesus.
Wow. I'm just blown. Oh my gosh, I got goosebumps still. I got goosebumps. Wow.
You were also there for the burning bush.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Wow.
Girl.
Like,
Gets
do you
around.
know? I'm sorry.
She gets around.
Wow.
Apparently so.
It was probably all, was that in the same lifetime?
Mm-hmm. Jesus
what
was
my name
later,
was?
but it's still, he was a follower of those teachings. And this is going to seem strange, but he taught Jesus. And you were there.
Well, Jesus was a man.
Yes.
But she
Born
was
of
a
a
woman.
woman.
I mean, he was a prophet, but I'm just saying, I know, but like a lot of people, and I don't mean Amanda, just people in general, they like, you know, it's like he was a man. He wasn't, you know, he was a prophet, but he was still having a human experience. So he could learn
Yes.
lessons and yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And we know that as a child, he pushed his friend off the roof and killed him.
What?
So,
What? Jesus did that?
Push somebody off a roof?
mhm.
Why?
He was angry with him.
He was a human.
He was a child. He didn't know better.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Wow. Very
Wow.
interesting.
So he was only human. But he was a great, great teacher and prophet.
And people say that a lot of his learning was brought up by women as well, the wise women in the villages. So
Oh,
that
he definitely believed in having women
divine
included.
feminine. He was taught by
Yes.
divine feminine. Mm-hmm.
Because they would teach their children.
And that makes sense. Wow, I got chills again. Wow.
So I've been highlighting questions, and I don't know if we're going to be able to get, because Peter and Carolyn, I don't know what your time limits are.
We don't
Huh?
we don't have any. So
Okay, Allyson, are you good? Because we're going on 9 o'clock. So I still have a few more people asking questions or we're sharing. And Amanda, you're good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. So before I accidentally bumped Lorraine off with the chat, Lorraine says, I've had a dream of being surrounded by sharks and alligators. None were harming me. I wasn't afraid, just confused. So that would be a symbolic, or was that maybe her spirit, like animal totems? Would that be
That's
maybe
love.
what that is?
That's love. That's love.
Being surrounded by sharks and alligators?
Because they didn't hurt her.
So do you think that's because they were like teachers for her,
Hmm.
and that she should study the? So
So that was
Lorraine made
protection.
in a way.
Pardon?
So that was like showing her that she was protected.
She was protected. And they were protecting her.
Surrounded by
showing-
sharks and alligators, and none were harming her.
And they were
Makes sense.
showing her love.
Mm-hmm. She's
Wow.
surrounded. She has protection.
That's
Interesting.
beautiful.
And those are always around her.
Those are ancient animals too. Ancient.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Sharks and alligators, sharks especially. Oh my God, they've been around forever.
Wow.
Wow.
So there you go, Lorraine. I would study those animal totems. Let me get down the list here. Karen was sharing. Let's see. This is going back a little bit. You're going through a lot of changes and transitions right now, too, Amanda. Like we talked about last night, I believe by October, you will feel more harmonious within yourself. So I guess you and Karen were talking about astrology. Okay.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure you saw that. Moira says, Amanda, it would be interesting to have someone look at your astrology at the time when you were having these experiences, when you were going up and floating and being afraid. So that was something, Moira. So maybe that's something you could talk with Karen later on about. And so Judith, let's see, had another question. And earlier she says that because Judith was the one that was talking about having a hard time sleeping at night because these spirits would still come to her and she would, wake herself up. And when you said to call on your angels, she did say, yes, I do yell to my angels. But this was also something she put in the chat. If you're still taking questions, I was having something tapping on my nose for the last couple of years and on my shoulder. Can you tell me what or who this is?
So what do you want? You woke me up. And this better be good.
Exactly.
No, really, I'd ask them, what do you want? What do you want here?
She hasn't been able to figure that out, so she was hoping that maybe you can pick up on that.
I think she probably would, in the back of her mind, know who it is.
Ooh. Okay. Because I sort of have that issue too, where I feel like something's touching me, or I hear my name clear, and I wake up and go, yes, I'm listening, and then there's something else. So I know that can get frustrating. So let's see.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, you can
Real
take a
quick
break and go back
you,
to life.
Carolyn. Thank you. So I have an interesting question, sort of, or interesting to me. My sister is a medium, but she doesn't use that ability. She just doesn't. It kind of freaks her out a little bit. I mean, some stuff she allows, like my mom. She lets my mom come in, and she kind of entertains that a little bit. My sister, I realize we're different people, right? But we have the same parents and this and that, whatever. And I know that supposedly we can all, as humans, enhance gifts, open up to them, this, that, and whatever. Because my sister was such a natural medium, is that because of some sort of event or trauma or upset? She didn't have any NDAs of what she experienced when she was younger. And I'm just curious, could I be as gifted as her without a ton of effort?
Be lazy about it.
I have to really
I don't want to do a lot of work.
I'm so interested in mediumship, but like the meditating and all of that, it's so hard for me to sit still and be quiet. And I know that's probably part of the lesson. I have to learn how to do that. But it's like I would love to have my sister's gift because she's not using it. It's like, well, can I just have it? And I'm joking, but I'm just saying it's like my mom, it's like I hardly ever notice my mom around. My mom will have died 6 years this December. And it's like I used to sense her around me a fair amount. And I don't pick up on her around me at all anymore. I know she is. I'm sure she is, but I don't pick up on it like at all. And I would really love to. And yeah. And
You're
I know I
blocking
things.
a lifetime.
What's that, honey?
You're blocking a lifetime.
Oh.
And so is she.
Okay.
You were together a lifetime.
Okay.
And you were both high priestesses in Egypt.
Oh. Ooh.
I told you.
Okay.
Sorry. I had this conversation last summer.
So my mom was a high priestess?
Wow.
You and your sister.
Oh, me and my sister. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because I feel a soul connection to Allyson too.
Yeah, I do with Amanda.
I think
Like
we were
had
all
a past life.
And I think we were all in Egypt at one point together.
Oh, that's
Wow.
wild.
Sorry about this.
So is this something that I could, like, if I put the effort in, I know the answer is probably
You
yes.
could tap into it.
Say it. I can tap in.
Yep.
What am I
Believe
supposed
in
to be doing?
yourself.
Meditating?
Meditating, and
It's
I
hard.
would get Egyptian cards.
Yes, which I've almost done many times and never pulled the trigger.
I've sent her several that
Anyways,
I've come
I'm
across,
sorry.
too.
I'll stop talking. Go ahead, Carolyn. Get Egyptian cards.
And a raw.
Okay.
Get a
Ooh,
raw.
I've
got
drawn
chills.
many times. I've drawn it, but okay.
I think we all should have
An ankh or a raw eye?
Say-
Onk.
An
Ankh.
ankh.
Oh, an ankh. Okay, I thought you said
Yeah.
raw, like the eye
I
of
thought the
raw,
raw
which I've
eye,
drawn
yeah.
many, many times.
Yeah.
but- okay.
I think both.
All right. So you're saying wear an ankh medallion?
Yeah. And if I said raw, there's a reason.
Okay. No,
So
understood.
both.
So
Okay.
we were all, I've been told by a number of people that I was a queen of Egypt, the high priestess, the high priestess. So we were all together. You were with me.
Wow. I just got chills.
Me too? Or was this just these two down here? Or certain people in the community?
Yes, absolutely. You too, Heather. We were all together.
Wow.
And we would do the ceremonies together.
Wow.
I just got chills.
Because I was told. Oh, sorry.
No, I know there's a delay or we're on time or I don't even know what. I'll just say this really quickly.
You're fine.
So Carolyn, there was some sort of very loud Egypt going on with me. What, Heather, about a year ago?
Last summer, everything,
yeah,
everywhere
like
she
early,
went.
late spring, early summer, and I had stuff coming through my feed when I hadn't even looked at it, books jumping off the shelf at me in stores, different things just showing up. And I ended up buying multiple books. I did look at several different things. And just, and I almost bought a couple different decks of, anyways, yes, I got the whole message Egypt a while ago and it's quieted down, but the connection is not just with you all, but there's something with my sister and I, and there's some sort of a blockage there of a past life that gets in the way of my mediumship. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, she won't accept it.
My sister won't either.
She's actually blocking you. Not
She's
knowingly.
blocking me.
Not knowingly.
Right.
Because she won't accept. And you were so close in the previous life in Egypt that she needs to open up more to let you open up.
Wow. So her, not even just about me and her, but just in general, this is a thing. So if you have somebody that you are very connected to or whatever, and they're not healing something from a past life type thing, that can hold you up.
Mm-hmm.
No kidding. That seems very unfair.
I know exactly. So her sister is the catalyst to her abilities coming out, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Say that again, Amanda.
Your sister is the catalyst to your abilities opening up.
That's what it sounds like. That's wild.
Wow.
See, and she's I won't tie up too much time about all this. My sister and I are very close, but we're very alike in a lot of ways, and we're also very different in a lot of ways. And she has a lot of fears, some fear stuff. So do I. Not the same things at all. But just related to the mediumship thing, she does entertain it to a degree, but only with what she feels really, really comfortable with. But she's quite good. She's very good.
Give her a knock.
She won't let anybody in.
Give her a knock.
Give her a knock. Okay. Okay. I will. You think
But-
that'll help her in some way?
That'll help you too.
Help me too.
I'll send you
Okay.
one,
So
sweetheart.
there's ways around this, basically, you're saying, or ways to help
Mhm.
open it up, or so get the
Yep.
Egyptian cards and get an ankh. Wear it on my person.
Yes.
Okay, I will. Thank you.
And the Eye of Ra too, right?
And the Ira.
Which I'm already drawn to that. I don't even know why. I mean, I've read about it before and I'm like, okay, you know, and I've drawn it, and I'm not even an artist. I've drawn it. I don't even know how many times. I have a beautiful one on my refrigerator that I drew, and I drew it beautifully, like just sat down and just drew it, which is kind of
There you
weird.
go.
Actually. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I
Beautiful.
got chills.
So Carolyn,
Thank you.
my sister has had abilities. She's been able to see spirits more in her life. I mean, we went a long time without talking, and we're heading that way again, unfortunately. But she shuts it down. She wants nothing to do with that. You know, to this part, I'm the black sheep in the family. I'm the only one that's openly interested in developing and learning about crystals and doing all of this. Now, it came so easy to her, but she's shutting that down. Is that anything similar between her and I, like Allyson and her sister, or are we a totally different entity? Or, and I don't mean entity, but are we like a different situation?
You were not together with us in Egypt. She was not with us in Egypt. So it won't be the same as with Allison's sister, who was with us.
So why would my sister have that ability, shut it down, and then I didn't get it along with like what, or is that just something that I wasn't meant to have in this lifetime, that was her?
No, you were meant to
gift?
have it this time. You were meant to be with us.
Yeah, but I'm just saying her abilities compared to what I can do, she shut them all down. She could do, if she wanted, she could do a lot more than what I'm what I'm capable of doing. So that's why I was just wondering if it was just something that in this lifetime that she inherited more strongly from my mom and my mom's side. And for me, it's like Allyson said, it's a lot harder for her to be able to bring it out. And the same thing, you know, with me, but I don't want to, I was just curious to see if that was anything that was similar in connection with my sister and, you know, our
Yeah.
abilities.
It's a different connection.
Okay. Gotcha.
I mean, is there a reason why I have these abilities, but it doesn't seem like a couple of my siblings do?
Because they weren't there.
Because they what?
Huh?
They weren't there.
Oh.
So, okay. So,
Go for it, Allyson.
We're a limited group, you know.
okay. So, Carolyn, basically, if I understand, it's kind of like if you use the term high priestess. So let's say you were a high priestess at some point or whatever, that's going to, by automatic default, put you into a different category later. Spiritually speaking, is what you carry over. And can you define high priestess for me, just in your words?
We do the ceremonies for the soul. We do when someone dies and they're high ranking and they do the wrapping. We're involved in that.
Okay.
The men didn't like us. The
Right.
priests didn't like us, but you know, we were protected.
So you're talking about all the stuff that went on in Egypt with the death and all of that stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And are you talking about the removing of the organs and all of that stuff as well?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
Wow.
I just got chills. Wow.
Yeah. Because I was just reading about all of that and I was fascinated about it.
They would be put in a bowl.
Yep.
We would do our ceremony over them, and they would go into the coffin with them before it was wrapped.
And then depending on who it is, the organs, some of the organs, not all of them, are put into some sort of like it's like a vase.
An urn.
Sit on it.
Yeah.
Like an urn.
Coptic jar.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and all of that. Wow.
Mhm.
Okay.
I was fascinated with that when I was younger, but as I've gotten older, I'm less that high priestess Egypt, and I'm more high priestess towards Avalon. But I think ancient Avalon had connections from Egypt because of the people from Lemuria and Atlantis and those civilizations. So I think that's where the progression probably
Is
went for
this
me.
wearing white clothing,
Mhm.
Carolyn?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
And sheer.
Yeah, it's gauzy.
Yeah, because I also feel like I got a spiritual soul connection to Roots and Waves Ange. Was she there too?
Mhm.
Wow.
She's actually going to be our guest on Monday for the Divine Feminine. And guess who one of the goddesses that she wants to discuss on that Monday? Isis.
Isis. I knew you were going to say that
Yeah.
just now.
I mean,
And
there's
I
a
got
lot of
I
Egyptian
said it.
goddesses,
that's what's
but Isis.
crazy.
Oh, wow.
We were in the temple of Isis.
What? Wow.
Now, I have a question for you, Carolyn. And, this is entertainment purposes only for anybody watching back. This is not for me to try to, alter anyone's, spiritual practice or anything. But there are some scholars, especially female ones, who believe that Isis reincarnated as Mary, and then Mary reincarnated or was with Kuan Yin, that they were all the same soul that reincarnated into these same goddesses. Now, do you feel that that's true, or do you think they're each their separate own soul? I'm just curious.
No, they reincarnated, and you'd be surprised who she is today.
Oh, really? So,
Mhm.
Mother Mary, my Mother Mary, is reincarnated and alive today.
Mhm.
Oh,
Wow.
is it are you comfortable with sharing who? I'm curious.
She's not. That's why she didn't say
She's
it.
new to me completely.
Huh?
Can you guess?
I don't know. I'm not very impressed by a lot of mainstream females in the news or in whatever. So
She has wisdom of all ages.
huh?
She has the wisdom of all ages. She ran a country.
She ran a country. So she's still alive.
Mhm.
So she's no longer running the country. She was.
She will be.
No, not her.
Yep.
Michelle, not Michelle. Kamala Harris.
Not Harris.
Yep.
See, I don't like Kamala whatsoever.
Wow.
She protected Catholic priests while
Okay.
she was governor.
Let's not
all right,
go
never
down
mind.
there. That's my
Yeah.
suggestion.
All right.
I do have a question though. That's a slightly off subject, but yet still connected. Carolyn, so people when they die and then they can reincarnate, what's the quickest turnaround that you've seen or that you're aware of that can happen?
24 hours.
Really?
Mhm.
Okay. And so, and again, I said, okay, so that's like if somebody, like, is there a reason that would happen? Is it like because of how they died or because they something, because that would be unusual, or is that fairly common?
It's
24 hour, I'm saying.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, it can be common. Yeah, because they have unfinished business. They've died
accidentally or
an
something?
accident or
Okay.
something of that is not their
So something
will.
got goofed up, like with the previous life, and then they just whoop do a U-turn and come right back in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. I was
Wow.
just curious, like, and then the other thing I wanted to ask, like with my mom, I said it's gotten very quiet with her, although I think that she's still around. I don't know if she's reincarnated or not, but what I'm curious about, let's just say that she has. Can't you still get visits from people even if they've reincarnated, because your
Yes.
soul is so, you could go all over the place, right?
There are aspects of you. There are different aspects.
Right.
Right.
It's not like as simple as like
Wow.
you and I are sitting here, it's like as a
Right.
soul can split off and okay. But I would assume you get less visits, or as you emotionally heal, or as you this or you that, because I don't know. I don't think that once I feel so, how do I say this? Like, I'm wondering if you get more visits the more you need them, and you don't necessarily get as many as you don't need them. You know what I mean? Whether it's
Yeah.
your mother
Yeah.
or your great grandfather that's one of your guides or whatever. It seems like, I don't even know how I can, without jumping into a whole different direction. It's just interesting to me who comes to visit you, how often, after how much time has gone by. And then what I'll say is that let's say somebody in your life that has died, and then once they do reincarnate, doesn't it make sense that you would get less, even though they still can visit, there would be less communication once they have gone on to do something else, especially if you have healed on your end and you don't need as much from that spirit any longer.
And there's also ancestors that have decided, I ain't going back.
Right. Right. That too. They're not even going to.
So they're there to help you.
Right.
'Cause
I
they're
got
not-
a reading. Right. I'll just be very, very brief. I got a reading from somebody a couple years ago that saw a great, 3 times great grandfather around me as one of my guides. I had no idea who he was talking about. I was just like, okay, and I'm taking all these notes and whatever. And I went back later. This is before I got all interested in my ancestry. And sure enough, man, there he was. I found him. He had the year he was born and his first initial, almost had the first name, and a couple other things. And as soon as I saw the guy's picture, because I actually found a photo of him, which was crazy, but it was there online because he was a postmaster, found a picture of him. And I was like, and I got covered in goosebumps, like, oh, there he is. And I just thought that was interesting. That was a relative of mine that goes back several generations. And apparently he's one of my guides, or somehow watches over.
He only chooses to come back to look after you.
Yeah. Joseph, my grandfather. And I just thought that was it. And I'd never even heard of this guy.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, it was very cool.
They wait for the child that they're going to protect. They wait for that child to be born.
Wow.
They know them.
Amazing.
They know them in the spirit life.
Right. You're given
so they wait for you to be born.
Right.
And that's when they start taking care of you.
Well, and then I know him as well, though. I just don't recall it, right? Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
It's so interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, because I feel like my mom is one of my spirit guides.
She probably is.
Because I
In
just
fact,
kind of feel her around.
she's standing behind you there.
No way.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
No. It's love. It's love.
So it's probably one of those orbs that she saw yesterday morning, right?
Purest form of love.
That she was there, yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. Oh, look at her. She's all like, oh.
Do you feel someone touching your hair?
I thought I did a second ago, but I know there's once in a great while I feel like someone's stroking my hair.
Well, that's what she's doing.
Wow.
Oh,
I just got goosebumps.
Pure love.
that's beautiful.
Yeah, I was her baby. I know I'm the only one out of the 4 kids she had that she wanted to have.
Oh, wow.
My mom wanted me until she had me. Oh no.
So going through the comments, I just want to share some from back when Allyson was talking about her son's night terrors. Nancy just wanted to let you know my middle child had horrible night terrors. He would be screaming with his eyes open but couldn't hear us.
Same.
So-
Yeah, that's what
so-
it was like. Yep.
Nancy shared that. And Jackie, God, Jackie, it's got to be what, 2 a.m. in England right now.
Yeah, but she stays up. She don't ever
Yeah,
sleep.
it's crazy. My brother used to be standing on his bed, screaming and pointing at aliens, little green men in his room. Used to scare my mom as he was so convinced they were there.
They were. But he needed to be taught that they're not to be feared.
I think some are that I mean, you're going to have good.
I mean,
and bad
there
in
are
all
some mean
situations.
ones.
Yeah, but not
Yeah,
those.
there are some mean. But this is not a particular. This is not a mean one.
So there you go, Jackie.
Wow.
Yeah. This is protective.
Yeah, Shan saw one when he was in his crib. He looked out and he could see them looking at him. So he says, "For me, I know they're real." So let's see. Now T. Lynn had a question. Is it possible to block a spirit of someone you don't want to contact you? And I know that T. Lynn was having responses from people in chat, but I just want, to show this that she had asked. That was almost about half hour ago. So is there anything specific that you would like to share with her, Carolyn or Peter?
Who passed?
T. Lynn says, is it possible to block a spirit of someone you don't want to contact you? So she didn't mention specifically who, I don't think. T. Lynn, I know you're still here. But maybe just in general, if there's somebody that is a spirit that you don't want them, because I can relate to T. Lynn on this one with my mother. So
I would think you just tell them you don't want to hear from them, right,
Yeah.
Carolyn?
You're not welcome. You are not welcome here. You say St. Michael's prayer and you say you are not welcome here. And you can lay down black salt. And
Black
that will
salt.
keep away.
now,
You
would that
said
be
black
around the
salt?
bed? Yeah. Carolyn, would that be around the bed?
You can put it anywhere.
Okay.
Across the threshold and the corners, windowsills. It goes anywhere. You got a bad neighbor, throw some over the fence.
Yeah. All righty. So Jackie was like, "Oh my God." So yep, it was true. She says I'm on U.S. time, and she says I'm supposed to be napping, but I saw Carolyn and Peter were on with you, and here I am.
We're happy you're here, sweetheart.
Yes. So okay, let me unstar. And Ginger says I can see Peter as a pharaoh. I can too.
Yes.
Very much so. And Ginger also wanted to share with you, Allyson, a deck she wanted to recommend. Julie Kutsia Watts has a deck. She's part of the community. Journey into Egypt. It's an excellent deck. I've had amazing reads and used it to investigate Nefertiti.
I will take a look into that. Thank you. I did a bunch of research and there's like 5 or 6 out there that I could find, and I didn't like any of them except for one. I'm very particular about decks.
You have to connect with it.
I
Yeah.
do, and I'm and the card stock for me is crucial. It has to be the right card stock, or I just can't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, but I will look that one up. I don't recognize that name.
It's Julie Kutsia Watts. Yeah,
But,
I'll send you her channel link. And
Yeah.
she's on Instagram too. So there you go, Ginger. I made sure Allyson got to see the recommendation. And also Karen said, Allyson, the Ankh, you are. Wait a minute. The Ankh, you are an Aries too. Look at the Emperor card holding one. So she's just
I
pointing
know what
out
an
to you. Yeah, so you're
Mhm.
Aries. Aries is represented by the Emperor, and she said he holds, has an Ankh on. So she just thought that was pretty cool.
Thank
I wanted to
you.
share that with you.
Yeah, because I'm an Aries rising, so
Me
that's
too.
interesting.
I'm an Aries rising too. And so Lorraine, I know you've been asking multiple questions, but here's the one that I have listed for you tonight. I had forgotten until Amanda said that. I had a dream recently that I was reading obituaries and saw someone I know, but a black bar kept me from reading all of it. So she wasn't supposed to know the death date, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So why would we have a dream like that though, if we weren't,
It's a warning.
Like a precognition type
Yeah.
dream.
Yeah. But you're not to know when.
Yeah, because I've been warned, I just shared this on my channel the other day. I was it was when my mom was still alive, and she was sick with emphysema, and we were at the hospital because she had emphysema. Every single time she had to be rushed to the hospital, she was put on life support. And me and my grandma and my daddy were out in the parking lot having a conversation. And just out of the blue, unexpectedly, my daddy asked my grandma, "How much longer does Peggy have?" And my grandmother turned around and said, she didn't know. That's up to Peggy for however much longer she wants to fight. And out of nowhere, my mouth opened up and said, 6 months. 6 months is all she has left to live. Like someone stepped in and spoke for me because that's never ever crossed my mind before. But I don't know why that happened.
I saw her walking down the parking lot to you and walk into you.
What?
Mm-hmm.
So she was trying to tell me so I would know.
Yes. She wasn't trying to frighten you. She was warning you. 6 months. And then she left your body and went back to the room.
Wow. Yeah, because even though that happened, maybe I was in denial. Because I didn't want to believe it because she had beat the odds so many times before that it's like, no, she's not going to die in 6 months. I don't believe it. And the doctors confirmed it a couple hours later, what I had said. And I think that was a shock for all of us. But I'm like, no, she's not going to die in 6 months. But she died in 6 months. So.
That was her telling you. And walking into you was so you could feel her.
Wow.
Do you know what I mean? You could feel her.
Mm-hmm.
And then she told you, you said it, and then she walked back in.
Wow. I just got chills. Oh my gosh.
And I see her smiling when you came back into the room because it was like, got you.
That sounds like her.
Mm-hmm. So Ange just came back. That's Roots and Waves. She had to go toss pizza in the oven. Glad you're still here. And it's funny, Ange, because she asked, I would love to know about my past life or any lives. I'll have to look into how to figure that out. And Ange, I don't think you are here, but Carolyn was sharing that because Amanda had said that she felt a past life connection with you and with Allyson, and Carolyn confirmed it that it was Egyptian. So I'm not sure what the time signature was, but it was about what I think we were talking about that 15 minutes ago, something like that. But unless there's something else you want to add to Ange's question, Carolyn, about past lives.
She was a very young girl learning the abilities of a priestess. And you were a teacher.
Who was?
You were teaching her.
Amanda? Okay.
Mhm.
Wow. That's why we have that connection, that pull.
Mhm.
So around what would be like the time frame then? Which dynasty, or maybe what pharaoh was, or did I miss that already that you mentioned?
Ramses? Ramses' time.
Was there two Ramses? So
Ramses 1.
Ramses 1. Okay.
Well,
And
I got
Heather,
chills.
everyone, I'm sorry, I have to go.
Okay.
Okay, honey.
It's
Everything
my
okay?
birthday weekend, and
Yeah.
I got to.
Party.
It was
Yeah.
so fun.
All right.
A
Bye,
good time.
Allison.
Have a good night. Much love.
All right,
Much
sweetie.
love.
Bye-bye.
She's
All
a
right. So okay. So T Lynn, I couldn't go back up. I did see something. I couldn't get to post it, and I've been very careful on how I've been highlighting comments so I don't accidentally time anybody else out. So she had. I know that T Lynn had posted a question about different personality disorders. And that I okay. So T Lynn, I think this is what you were asking about, if I remember correctly. I think it was when we were talking about having the different reincarnations and then people maybe remembering them. I think T Lynn, if you're still here, I think you might have been referring to, could this be where people have multiple personality? And of course, YouTube entertainment purposes only. Carolyn, ourselves are not doctors or psychologists. This is just us having, an open conversation. Is it possible that some people who have those experiences of multiple personalities would be because they're tapping into previous past lives? There we go. How does spirit work with multiple personality disorder? Oh, not a past life. Okay, I don't know if you can answer that
no.
because you're a doctor. No. Okay. It's not like
I-
a metaphysical, so it's an actual health question. And yeah, Peter,
Yeah.
a lot of us don't do the health or legal questions, but that was interesting though. I don't know where that came from, but so, well, seeing that I brought that up, is it possible, Carolyn, on a spiritual level, that some people who may have these personalities that come through, could they possibly be connected to a past life that they are bringing, forth in this lifetime? Or do you think that's a whole separate medical?
A person who has schizophrenia, for instance, excuse me, should be checked for multiple lives because that could be what's wrong, or they could be possessed, and that needs to be checked
Like
before
expand
you
on
label someone as schizophrenic.
Yes. And again, we're not doctors,
We're
we're
not
not
doctors.
psychologists. We're just talking. Please go see a healthcare professional. This is just us having a spiritual kind of discussion about this, and it's not meant to diagnose or treat any mental illness or health.
No.
So yeah, Tielan was talking about abuse, fractured personality. So yeah, we can't go down that that lane. I'm looking to see if so. Amanda, that explains why you and I connect so deeply with the High Priestess card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think for now, okay, curious. Okay, I don't know. Curious if they got a reading, if it applies to base spirit or whichever personality happens to be out at that time. Surely they only have. I don't know. This is still kind of bordering on mental health, so
It
Yeah.
is.
it is
Yeah.
for you. Okay, yeah, we want to be very careful about that. So I think
I
we
got
are
a question, Carolyn, because we were
Okay.
talking. I shared a little bit backstage about the dream I had, and I knew after like a minute what was happening, which is the sex demon that came to visit me and tried seducing me. See, I always heard that they look like supermodels, but what
Mhm.
I saw wasn't a supermodel. It looked
Mhm.
like a demon.
Mhm.
And I know as soon as I turned my head and saw it, I rebuked it in Jesus Christ's name, and I was able to be freed from that dream. And I sat up and woke up. Of course, I'm out of breath because I've just been freaked out. But like, that's the only time that's happened. I mean, I did have another experience, but I didn't see anything. And that's when I saw an angel appear. Like, I was like laying in bed one day and I was getting ready to fall asleep. And I heard something, but I'm like, I'm alone. So I woke up and I saw an angel standing at the foot of my bed. And I think I realized at that point the noise I heard was like his wings closing. And I'm just standing there in disbelief, looking ahead of me at him. And then before I could even open my mouth to say a word to him, he turns to his left and he pulls out a sword. And then his wings opened and I couldn't see anything. I couldn't see what was there. I mean, I could only assume what it was, but
The demon came back and he
ooh,
took care of him.
oh, well,
You
thank
will
God for
not
that.
touch my child. You will not touch God's
Mm.
child.
Was it Michael that came?
Gabriel.
Gabriel? Wow, I just got chills. So why is it that it's believed in that when a sex demon shows up that they look like supermodels then?
to seduce you, right?
I know, but I didn't see that's not what I saw though. I
Oh,
saw an
gotcha.
actual demon, like it was grotesque what I saw. But others talk
Because
about they see a
you
supermodel
are
type.
you're awake enough emotionally, spiritually enough that you could see past their disguise.
And that kind of goes into like the Bible because I was told after I had my very first angel experience, and I've had a few of them. I was told that the reason why I'm able to see angels and demons like with my bare eyes, without trying or wanting to see them, that I will just see them. And I was told the reason I'm able to see it is because I'm that closely connected to the divine. And two, it goes to the Bible where it talks about the holy gifts that God gives to all of us. And the gift I got is discernment of spirit. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Mm-hmm. The power of discernment. Yes,
And that's true.
that's true.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, I just got chills.
And Lynn says, I heard they frequently disguise as little children too, innocent. So that's how sometimes they present themselves too, also. That's why you got to be careful with the spirit boxes and the boards and things and having paranormal
Mm-hmm.
investigations because sometimes they present themselves as children. And if you're not properly grounded or whatever your spiritual faith is, if you're not grounded enough in that and have the protection around you and you have the mind set to be able to do this type of investigation or inquiry, that they can sometimes, for people who aren't aware, confuse them into thinking it's a child, and they're not. So I've had some, we've seen some shows where they'll say, they think they know what they're saying, but they're actually not. They may look like a child, but it's actually an evil spirit, or it could be, something else. And I think it was the last time you joined Allyson and I, Peter and Carolyn, that we had somebody within our community kind of jump in and say that there's no such thing as demons. But I, for one, have experienced, I don't think it was demonic in my house, but it was sure evil enough where it was almost bordering on. So for me, I know there is such a thing. And with Amanda's story, we all have different, experiences. And for me, that's something that I feel I can speak, for me that,
Remember, they can present themselves as anybody they want to. That could have been a demon saying there are no such thing as demons. You think you know who was writing.
Yeah.
well,
You know what I mean?
I'm not sure, because I think it was in our last live, and I'm being very respectful. I'm being very respectful of the channel creator, because I want, as a fellow reader, I want to be respectful. But they had come in while we were talking about experiences with demons, and we were talking about that. They had come in and stated out there's no such thing, and we shared our experiences, and then I put, respectfully into the chat, would you like to share your side of the story? What makes you think that there isn't such a thing? What have your experiences been? And they didn't even stay, to share. So, so what you're saying is, could that, well, again, bordering on trying to stay respectful to, fellow readers. Yeah, that might be something for backstage. Okay. I have to be careful with my respect of my fellow readers and channels.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I just
Ginger,
hope he never runs into one.
So, pondering if we are connected with some of our past lives. This is Ginger. Could multi-personality, kind of like a thin veil of these lives coming forward together? I think that's what I was mentioning earlier, Ginger, is that for some people who may be experiencing what they think is multiple personality is actually a thin veil of our former selves from a past life coming through. Now, is that is that comfortable for me to ask you about that, or is that still too much bordering on multiple personality because it's a mental health question?
Well, I would just say, if you have any questions about a child, a husband, a wife that is having problems, and a doctor says schizophrenia, go to a mental health care specialist.
Yes, definitely. Always go to your doctor. Yes.
Yeah. Because it could be a whole different ball of wax.
Okay, so I'm just looking at chat because some stuff is going on in there, and I'm getting a little lost here in some of the. Okay. So Timothy has a question, and I'm glad you bring it up this way, Timothy, because last summer I was at a psychic fair, and there was a gentleman there wanting to share his virtual reality headset because he wanted to help our men and women coming from the war with post-traumatic, stress and all things like that. And he had this VR headset and wanted to ask me and my friend if we wanted to kind of see what it looked like. And for her, she was kind of like, oh, is that kind of cool? For me, I put it on, and within a few minutes, I started to get extremely sick, and for at least, I think it took about a week, I was sick after that. Um, I I mean, I was bedridden for almost more than a week. Now, on a spiritual level, can those VRs, is there any? So, Timothy, I think what you are saying is not safe for public use. We're not getting into a health question that way. But if we look at it from a spiritual perspective, do we have to be very careful with the VRs? Can we be influenced negatively on a spiritual level, or do you think it's like any other tool? It has its positive and its negative for spiritual.
I wouldn't use one. I don't think they're safe. And especially if, like you, is passed from person to person to person, and you can pick up something from a person down here.
Oh, I never thought of that. A person's energy or spirit or entity. I never thought of that.
Yeah, because I've always said you got to put up protection even in a live chat because it's an exchange of energy.
Yep. Palo Santo there. I've got my Florida water right here. So most definitely say prayer of protection before and after. Ginger, color me pondering. No, that was a really interesting question, Ginger. Mine was very similar. Nancy shared, "Oh, demons are real. I experienced one up close and personal. Pure evil. Changed the room temperature to icy. I could actually see my breath."
Yeah. Oh, I got chills.
Oh yeah. An angel will warm a room. It won't make the room cold.
An angel will warm it up. Yeah.
Is that why I get warm sensations like someone's touching my face? Because most people talk about when they experience any form of paranormal activity, it's usually a cold spot and it's never like a warm spot or a warm sensation. And I don't know why that is. So, like, all my experiences mostly have always been, it's been a warm sensation, like someone touching my face, someone kissing my forehead, or even stroking my hair, or it felt like someone even hugged me one time. But then others are like, well, I've only experienced cold temperatures, so I don't know why that is.
That is a spirit. And you have to protect yourself, for heaven's sakes. We've been to many places, especially in England, that are very haunted. And you walk into the room and there's either a cold spot or the room itself is just freezing cold. Like the haunted gallery at Hampton Court. It was a really hot day. And people were wall to wall. And everybody was sweating and fanning themselves. And I had goosebumps. I was so cold. And here comes Catherine Howard down to the chapel, banging on the door for Henry.
She wasn't there.
I mean, she wasn't there, but her spirit was. I think it was probably a stone wall.
Residual.
Residual, yeah. And then here come the two guards and dragging her back, But I was absolutely freezing. I had goosebumps. And everybody else is going, "Oh God, it's so hot." Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I'll let you know when it warms up.
Yeah. So Ginger reiterates, she goes, "Moira asked me to elaborate." So this is going back again to the question with the past lives. So past lives occupy particular spaces in time. What if these timelines overlap? And I don't know what the regarding the multi personality. So I think it's the same answer, right, as before. I just want to make sure that Ginger's
You're not going to have overlapping lives. Your
Pardon?
spirit, you're not going to have overlapping lives. Your spirit is within itself. You're not going to be here and then, halfway through this life, you're going to be here.
Well, some people in our community have talked about multi-parallel lives, that we are living
I've heard
we are
that.
on different, and some people even feel that we are still reincarnated and still living in our previous reincarnated life in another time frame or era. So is that possible, or
I think temporarily, but not for long periods. No.
okay, because some were saying like, well, if we're here in this lifetime, because of the possibility of time travel, we could be still living who we are in another lifetime. And I think that might be where the overlapping, that we experience those overlappings, but that's, you feel, isn't possible.
It is, because what if you're pregnant in one lifetime and decide to come forward and you're still pregnant and you got to explain to your husband, well, that was from 5 lifetimes ago and we're having the baby now. I mean,
I'm confused, but okay. Yeah, that might be something I have to. Ginger, I hope that that helped. I might have to have Carol explain a little. Go ahead, Amanda.
I have a question, Carolyn Peter. So like with my experience with precognition, because this is where I know a lot of people struggle with someone like me who can know the future before it happens, but everybody's like, but that's not possible because we all have free will. We get to choose what happens in our lives. But it's like, so how is it like someone like me is able to see something or know something before it happens?
Well, pre-contract.
It's all contracts.
It could be soul contract. Yeah, preordained.
So because it's already been written up in heaven, I'm just able to access it and know that these certain events are going to come, because that's how I've always said it. It's like, I think from my perspective and my personal belief is that there are certain things we are pre-planned when we come into our life. Most of our life, yes, it's free will, but there are certain things that have to happen because that's why we came here for this, life, to experience and learn certain things. And that's how I've always explained it to people. But I know some people still struggle with that belief. It's like, no, I'm in complete control of my life. I got free will over everything. It's like, okay.
Except for that truck coming up the road. You don't have control of that.
Yeah, we don't free will over that guy behind the wheel. Yeah.
Yeah. Good point. That's a good point.
What?
In the Book of Life, which is in the Akasha records, but you will not be allowed to say it, is your name and as a date. You won't make it past that date.
Wow.
It's already written. It's already written, but you won't see it.
But we have seen videos on, at least I have on YouTube, where people who have had near-death experiences have the option of, well, either you fulfilled your time here and you can come with us, or you can go back if you want, and to be with family, and then the soul gets to decide. And then there are other times when they're like, nope, not your time yet, you gotta go back. So
that was me. I took my daughter to heaven. They told her, you can come forward. But to me, they said, but you have to go back because we're not finished with you yet.
Oh.
Woke up.
Okay.
Wow.
Well, I'm kind of glad because we wouldn't know you. We wouldn't have you here with us right now.
Exactly.
So, and Jay joined us, Majestic, and she wanted to say hello to. Well, now my chat's freezing up here. She says, "Good to see you and Peter," and she's saying hello to you, Amanda, and to all the chatters. So that's Jay. Hello, my dear.
Hi.
I'm glad you could join us. So, he wanted to come up. So, well, we are at 10 o'clock. I think maybe, unless there was something else that Amanda, you wanted to talk to the Peter and Carolyn about, or was there something else that you wanted to talk about, Carolyn or Peter, or do we want to end the show now for the night? Yeah, we don't want to wear our friends out. It's been 2 hours.
Yeah, we can go backstage and talk when the show's over.
Yeah, because I have a few private questions for Carolyn. No, you just hang on right there. So, yeah, you know cats. So,
Uh-huh. Being a
so
Leo, I know cats.
yes, Leo. So, T-Lynn, we're going to be done for the evening. Timothy says, take care, Carolyn, Peter. Thank you, Timothy, for coming in and
Yes.
asking a wonderful question. Everybody for your questions and sharing your stories with us and your dreams and your experiences. And we will have Carolyn and Peter on again. They're always welcome. They're such a joy to have here.
Yes.
And Nancy says, thank you all. And Ange says, thank you so much, Carolyn and Peter. So nice to meet you. So, this was Ange's first time to meet you. So wonderful. Oh, hold on. He's laying on my keyboard and he's doing something to my screen. Oh, no. Okay, let me fix this and hopefully I don't
That's a
disconnect.
Leo for you.
Here we go. So,
I'm liable to do anything.
and Ginger says, thank you, Carolyn, Peter. And Becky,
Ginger.
so, yeah.
Hey, Jackie. Say hi to England for us.
Yep. Yes, definitely Leo season. So everybody, thank you again. Have a wonderful rest of your night and have a great weekend. And we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye, beautiful people.
Be blessed. Be
Yes.
blessed.